This has to be a joke. Liam Sterling stared at the dark, viscous liquid dripping from the lapel of his pristine, custom-made Italian suit. It was not coffee. It was not water. It was mud. Thick, foul-smelling Los Angeles gutter mud. Before we dive into this disaster, leave a comment telling us which city you are watching from. And at the end, do not forget to rate this story from 0 to 10. Enjoy the story. You have got to be kidding me, Liam said, his voice dangerously low. He stood on the sidewalk outside Espresso Lab, the trendiest coffee spot in West Hollywood. 5 minutes ago, he was the 32-year-old CEO of Sterling Tech, days away from the biggest initial public offering of the year. He looked like $1 billion. Now he looked like a swamp monster in a silk tie. Standing in front of him, tangled in a chaotic web of leather leashes, was a woman who looked like she had just wrestled a tornado and lost. I am so sorry. Maya Diaz gasped, trying to regain her balance. She was pulling back on 6 different leashes with all her strength. Tiny saw a squirrel. He is a Great Dane with a high prey drive, and he just— Tiny, Liam interrupted, wiping a glob of mud from his cheek. He looked down at the massive dog that was currently sniffing his expensive loafers. The beast was the size of a small horse. You call this monster Tiny? He is sensitive about his size, Maya said, breathless. She was wearing worn-out denim shorts, a t-shirt that read Adopt Don't Shop, and combat boots that had seen better days. Her curly hair was escaping from a messy bun, and she looked terrified. Sir, really, I can pay for the dry cleaning. I have a coupon for the place on 3rd Street. Liam let out a short, incredulous laugh. Dry cleaning? Miss, this suit cost $5,000. The fabric is vicuna wool. You cannot just dry clean it with a coupon. Maya flinched. $5,000. That was 3 months of rent. That was the entire veterinary budget for the shelter she was trying to save. Well, Maya said, her voice hardening slightly as she sensed his arrogance. Maybe you should not wear a $5,000 suit to stand on a public sidewalk where dogs exist. It is a hazard of the ecosystem. Liam's eyes narrowed. He was not used to people talking back to him. He was used to assistants handing him sparkling water and board members nodding at his every word. Excuse me, you lost control of your pack of wild animals. You just ruined my image 10 minutes before a meeting with the most conservative investors in California. They are not wild animals, Maya shot back, pulling a golden retriever away from Liam's leg. They are good dogs, and frankly, your image seems a little fragile if a bit of mud can destroy it. It is not just mud, Liam snapped. He checked his watch. It was 8:55 a.m. He was going to be late. It is the lack of respect, the lack of professionalism. People like you, people like me. Maya stepped closer, the tangle of dogs shifting around her. You mean people who actually work for a living, people who walk 6 dogs at once to pay bills. Look, Mr. Suit, I said I was sorry, but if you are going to stand there and insult me, I am taking my apology back. Liam opened his mouth to destroy her with a verbal takedown, but his phone vibrated violently in his pocket. It was Ethan, his assistant. Liam glared at Maya one last time. You are lucky I am in a rush. If I had time, I would sue you for the cost of the suit and the emotional distress of having to smell you. Maya's jaw dropped. Smell me? That is the smell of hard work, you arrogant jerk. Liam turned on his heel, ignoring the wet squelch of his mud-soaked shoes, and stormed toward his waiting black sedan. He ripped the door open and slid inside, slamming it shut to block out the world. Drive, Liam commanded. Ethan, sitting in the passenger seat with a tablet in his hand, turned around slowly. He took in the sight of his boss, the mud in his hair, the brown stain spreading across his chest. Rough morning, boss, Ethan asked, fighting a smile. Do not start, Ethan, Liam growled, pulling a handkerchief from his pocket to frantically wipe his hands. Just get me to the meeting. I have 10 minutes to convince the board that I am a stable, responsible adult and not a frat boy who plays in the mud. Ethan tapped his tablet screen. About that, boss, you might want to see this. See what? Ethan held up the tablet. On the screen was a video. It was shaky, clearly filmed by a bystander on a phone. It showed Liam screaming at Maya. It showed him pointing a finger in her face. It showed the mud. But worse, it captured the audio perfectly. If I had time, I would sue you for the cost of the suit and the emotional distress of having to smell you. The caption on the video read, Tech CEO Liam Sterling hates dogs and working class people. Cancel Sterling, eat the rich. It has been up for 12 minutes, Ethan said quietly. It already has 50,000 views. Liam stared at the screen. The number of views ticked up right before his eyes. 51,000. 52,000. This, Liam whispered, the color draining from his face, is a catastrophe. 2 days later, the atmosphere in Liam's penthouse office was colder than the liquid nitrogen in his cryotherapy chamber. The investors are pulling out, Liam, said Marcus, the chairman of the board, his voice booming over the speakerphone. They saw the video. They think you are volatile. They think you are out of touch. And frankly, with your history of dating Instagram models and partying in Ibiza, this was the final straw. Liam paced the length of his office, looking out at the Los Angeles skyline. It was one bad moment, Marcus. The woman threw mud on me. The internet thinks you attacked a dog walker, Marcus countered. We need to fix your image, fast, or the IPO is dead in the water. You need to show them you have changed, that you are grounded, that you are settling down. The line went dead. Liam threw his phone onto the leather sofa. He ran a hand through his hair. He is right, you know, Ethan said from the corner of the room where he was scrolling through comments on Twitter. Listen to this one. Liam Sterling probably kicks puppies for fun. And this one, I bet he has never worked a day in his life. He needs a reality check. I built this company from nothing, Liam shouted. I coded the first algorithm in a garage. Perception is reality, boss, Ethan said calmly. You need a rebrand. You need a fiancé. Liam stopped pacing. A fiancé. I broke up with Chloe 3 months ago because she was more interested in her follower count than a conversation. Not someone like Chloe, Ethan said, standing up. Someone real. Someone the public already sympathizes with. Someone who makes you look human. Ethan tapped the large monitor on the wall. The video of the mud incident began to play again. He paused it on a frame of Maya's face. She looked fierce, protective, and undeniably genuine. Her, Ethan said. Liam stared at the screen. The dog walker, the one who ruined my suit, you want me to date her. I want you to make peace with her, Ethan corrected. Publicly, and maybe, just maybe, if she agrees to be seen with you, the internet will forgive you. She is the hero of this story, Liam. You are the villain. The only way to redeem the villain is if the hero forgives him. Liam looked at Maya's face on the screen. He remembered the fire in her eyes. That is the smell of hard work. Find her, Liam said. It took Ethan exactly 45 minutes to track Maya Diaz down. She was not hard to find because she was working 3 different jobs. At 2 p.m., Maya was delivering food for a delivery app. She pulled her beat-up bicycle to the curb in front of a luxury apartment complex in downtown L.A. She was sweating, her legs ached, and she was mentally calculating how much she needed to fix the leaking roof at the stray sanctuary. She locked her bike and turned around, only to find a sleek black car blocking her path. The rear window rolled down. Liam Sterling sat inside. He was wearing a fresh suit, navy blue this time, and looking annoyingly perfect. Maya rolled her eyes. Oh, great, did you come to sue me? Because I have about $12 in my bank account, so good luck with that. Get in the car, Maya, Liam said. I have a delivery to make, she replied, holding up a bag of Thai food. Pad Thai waits for no man. I bought the pad Thai, Liam said, and the spring rolls, and the entire restaurant's delivery capacity for the next hour. Get in the car. Maya hesitated. She looked at the bag of food, then at the car. Curiosity and perhaps a bit of hunger won out. She opened the door and slid onto the leather seat, making sure to keep her dusty sneakers away from the upholstery. What do you want? She asked, crossing her arms. I have a business proposition, Liam said, getting straight to the point. He signaled the driver to circle the block. That video of us went viral. I know, Maya said, a small smile touching her lips. My cousin sent it to me. I particularly liked the comment that compared your face to a constipated ferret. Liam ignored the jab. It is costing my company millions. I need to fix my image, and you are the key. I am not making an apology video for you, Maya said firmly. You were rude. I do not want an apology, Liam said. He turned to face her fully. I want a fiancé. Maya choked on her own saliva. She coughed violently for a few seconds while Liam watched with a mixture of concern and impatience. Excuse me, she wheezed. Did you hit your head when the mud hit you? Fake fiancé, Liam clarified. For 1 month, you attend a few events with me. We get photographed together. You make me look like I have a heart. We break up amicably after my company goes public. You are insane, Maya said, reaching for the door handle. I am leaving. $50,000, Liam said. Maya froze. Her hand hovered over the handle. $50,000, that would fix the roof. That would pay the vet bills for the 3 pit bulls she just rescued. That would keep the sanctuary open for another year. She turned back slowly. 50,000, cash, Liam said, and I will pay for your dry cleaning. Maya studied him. He was desperate. She could see it in the way his fingers tapped nervously on his knee. He was a shark, yes, but right now he was a shark caught in a net. I have conditions, Maya said. Name them. 1, Maya said, holding up a finger. I do not change who I am. I am not becoming one of those plastic dolls you usually date. 2, the money goes directly to the Stray Sanctuary, a non-profit organization. And 3, she looked him up and down. You have to come help me clean the kennels at the shelter once a week. If I am entering your world, you are entering mine. Liam grimaced. Clean kennels, as in, waste management. Take it or leave it, Mr. Sterling. Liam looked at her determined eyes. He thought about the board members. He thought about the IPO. Deal, he said, extending his hand. Maya looked at his manicured hand, then at her own calloused, work-worn palm. She shook it. Her grip was strong. Welcome to the gig economy, Liam, she said. Try to keep up. The next day, Maya found herself standing in the center of a room that looked more like a spaceship than a clothing store. It was Lumina, the most exclusive styling studio in Beverly Hills. She is rustic, said Anton, a stylist wearing a cape that seemed to be made of liquid silver. He walked around Maya, poking at her oversized flannel shirt with a disdainful finger. We need to polish her, Liam said from a velvet armchair, scrolling through emails on his phone. We have the Hamptons Gala this weekend. My ex, Chloe, will be there. The press will be there. Maya needs to look the part. Say no more, Anton said, clapping his hands. I will turn this caterpillar into a butterfly, a very expensive, very quiet butterfly. Maya swatted Anton's hand away. I am not a caterpillar, and I am definitely not quiet. For the next 3 hours, Maya endured torture. They tried to put her in a dress that was so tight she could not inhale fully. I cannot breathe, Maya gasped, her face turning red. Breathing is optional. Fashion is mandatory, Anton declared, pulling the zipper up. Get it off, Maya shouted. I need oxygen to live. Next, they tried a dress covered in so many sequins it weighed 15 pounds. I feel like a disco ball having a panic attack, Maya complained, waddling out of the dressing room. Liam looked up from his phone, suppressing a laugh. You look shiny. I look like a traffic hazard, Maya retorted. Next. Finally, Anton brought out a dress that was different. It was a deep, rich emerald green. The fabric was silk, flowing like water. It had a simple neckline and a slit up the leg that allowed for movement. Maya stepped into it. It felt cool against her skin. She looked in the mirror. For the first time that day, she did not recognize the woman staring back. The messy bun was gone, replaced by soft, cascading waves that framed her face. The makeup was subtle, highlighting her dark eyes. The dress hugged her curves without suffocating them. She looked powerful. She looked elegant, but mostly she still looked like Maya. She stepped out of the dressing room. The room went silent. Liam stopped scrolling. He slowly lowered his phone. He stood up. He had seen beautiful women before. He had dated supermodels and actresses. But there was something about Maya in that moment that struck him harder than the mud ever could. She did not look like she was trying to impress anyone. She looked comfortable in her own skin, and the dress was just an accessory to her natural radiance. "Well," Maya asked, feeling suddenly shy under his intense gaze. "Do I look like a valid investment?" Liam cleared his throat, adjusting his tie. "You look adequate," Anton gasped. "Adequate." "She looks like a goddess who just descended from Mount Olympus to bless us mortals." Maya laughed, the sound breaking the tension. "I will take that as a compliment, Anton. Okay, Liam, I will wear the dress, but I am keeping my combat boots in the car, just in case I need to run. We will find you heels that do not require a medical license to walk in," Liam promised. "We leave for the Hamptons tomorrow. Are you ready to meet the sharks?" "I deal with pit bulls with food aggression every day," Maya said, looking at herself in the mirror one last time. "Rich people in tuxedos do not scare me." "They should," Liam said darkly, "because unlike dogs, they bite when you are not looking." The Hamptons Gala was held at an estate so large it had its own zip code. The lawn was manicured to within an inch of its life. The air smelled of sea salt and money. As Liam's limousine pulled up to the entrance, Maya felt a knot of anxiety tighten in her stomach. "Just remember the backstory," Liam whispered as the valet opened the door. "We met at a charity auction. You were bidding on a vintage telescope. We bonded over our love of astronomy." "I thought we agreed on the truth," Maya whispered back. "That we met when I tackled you with a Great Dane." "Absolutely not," Liam said. "Stick to the telescope." They stepped out of the car. The flash of cameras was blinding. A wall of photographers screamed their names. "Liam, Liam, over here. Who is the girl? Is that the mystery woman?" Liam placed a hand on the small of Maya's back. The touch was warm and firm. "Smile," he murmured. "And do not look at the cameras directly. It makes you look desperate." "I am desperate," Maya muttered through a frozen smile. "Desperate for a taco." They walked the red carpet, entering the grand ballroom. It was filled with people holding champagne flutes and judging each other. "Liam!" A high-pitched voice cut through the murmur of the crowd. Maya felt Liam stiffen beside her. Walking toward them was a woman who looked like she had been generated by an AI instructed to create perfect trophy wife. She was blonde, impossibly thin, and wearing a silver dress that cost more than Maya's entire life earnings. Hanging on her arm was a man with slicked back hair and a smile that showed too many teeth. "Chloe," Liam said, his voice devoid of emotion. "It is so good to see you," Chloe said, leaning in to kiss the air near Liam's cheek. She turned her gaze to Maya. Her eyes scanned Maya from head to toe like a barcode scanner checking for a price tag. "And who is this?" "This is Maya," Liam said, pulling Maya slightly closer. "My fiancé." Chloe's eyebrows shot up. "Fiancé? Wow, you move fast, Liam. I guess you needed a rebound after." "Well, us." The man beside her chuckled. "Good to see you, Sterling. Heard your stock took a little dip this week. Mud trouble." "Hello, Brad," Liam said coldly. "Brad is in hedge funds," he explained to Maya. "He specializes in shorting companies that try to save the world." "Charmed," Maya said dryly. Chloe stepped closer to Maya, invading her personal space. "So Maya, what do you do? Are you a model and influencer? I feel like I have not seen you at the usual parties." This was the test. Liam watched Maya, ready to intervene. "I am an entrepreneur," Maya said smoothly. "Oh," Chloe smirked. "What kind of business?" "I manage a high-volume logistics and rehabilitation facility for displaced dependents," Maya said. Chloe blinked. "That sounds very technical. Is it in tech?" "It is in the non-profit sector," Maya smiled. "I run the Stray Sanctuary. I rescue dogs that people like you buy for Instagram photos and then abandon when they stop being puppies." The silence that followed was deafening. Brad choked on his drink. Liam bit the inside of his cheek to stop himself from laughing. Chloe's face turned a shade of pink that clashed with her dress. "Excuse me, I have never abandoned a dog." "Really?" Maya tilted her head. "Because I have a Pomeranian at the shelter named Gucci. He was dropped off 3 months ago by a personal assistant who said her boss, a Miss C, got bored of him because he barked during her live streams. He has a microchip registered to a Chloe V." Chloe's eyes went wide. She looked around nervously to see if anyone was listening. That was a misunderstanding, Chloe stammered. Gucci was emotionally unstable. He was lonely, Maya said, her voice dropping the sarcasm and becoming deadly serious. He just wanted attention, kind of like you, right? Brad stepped forward, his face red. Now listen here, you little, careful Brad, Liam stepped in, his voice low and dangerous. You are making a scene. But Maya was not done. She looked down at Brad's expensive Italian leather shoes. By the way, Brad, she said casually, I noticed you walked across the lawn to get here. You might want to check your left sole. I think you stepped in something organic. Brad panicked. He immediately lifted his foot, hopping on one leg like a flamingo. He twisted his shoe to look at the bottom. There was nothing there. Just kidding, Maya grinned. But it is funny how quickly you jump when you think you are dirty. A group of investors standing nearby burst into laughter. She is sharp, sterling. One of the older men shouted, raising his glass. I like her, no nonsense. Chloe grabbed Brad's arm. We are leaving, she hissed. She shot Maya a look of pure venom. This is not over, sweetie. You do not belong here, and everyone knows it. Maybe not, Maya called after her. But at least I know where my dog is. As Chloe and Brad retreated in humiliation, Liam turned to Maya. He was looking at her with an expression she could not quite place. It was all. You, Liam said, shaking his head, are dangerous. I told you, Maya shrugged, grabbing a slider from a passing waiter's tray. I deal with aggressive animals every day. Chloe is just a chihuahua with a credit card. Liam laughed. It was a real laugh, deep and genuine. It felt strange in his chest, like a muscle he hadn't used in years. Come on, Liam said, offering her his arm. Let's go meet the board. I think they are going to love you. The next morning, the internet was a different place. Ethan ran into the hotel suite where Liam and Maya were having breakfast. He was holding the tablet like it was the Holy Grail. Look at the metrics, Ethan shouted. Just look at them. He threw the tablet onto the table. The headlines were everywhere. Liam Sterling's new fiancée roasts socialite at gala. The mystery woman who put Brad the banker in his place. Team Maya trends #1 worldwide. They love you, Ethan said, pointing at Maya. The internet has decided you are the people's princess of the gig economy. They love that you stood up to Chloe. They love that you run a shelter. Look at this comment. Finally, a CEO dating someone who knows the price of milk. Maya chewed on a piece of toast, looking uncomfortable. This is weird. People are drawing fan art of me holding a dog in one hand and a subpoena in the other. It is working, Liam said, looking at the stock market app on his phone. Sterling tech shares are up 4% this morning. The investors are calling me. They say I seem grounded and mature for choosing a partner with values. He looked at Maya. You saved the IPO. Great, Maya said, wiping crumbs from her mouth. Does that mean I get the check? I have a roof to fix. Not yet, Liam said. We need to sustain this momentum for 2 more weeks, until the IPO launches. We need to be seen doing couple things, normal things. Define normal, Maya asked suspiciously. Dates, Ethan interjected. But not at Michelin star restaurants. We need content of you two at, I do not know, a carnival, a taco truck, a thrift store. Liam looked horrified. A thrift store? Why would I buy used clothes? To seem relatable, Ethan insisted. Maya, take him to your world. Show him how the other 99% lives. Maya looked at Liam's terrified expression. A mischievous grin spread across her face. Oh, this is going to be fun, she said. Liam, have you ever eaten a street taco while sitting on a plastic stool that might collapse at any moment? No, Liam said. Get your coat, rich boy, Maya said, standing up. We are going to East LA. I do not think this chair is structurally sound, Liam said, eyeing the white plastic stool sitting on the cracked pavement of a parking lot in East Los Angeles. Sit, Maya commanded. It holds Big Tony, and Big Tony weighs 300 pounds. You will be fine. Liam gingerly lowered himself onto the stool. He was wearing a t-shirt, a plain white cotton t-shirt that cost $12. Ethan had forced him to buy it at a Target on the way over. Liam felt naked without his blazer. So, Liam said, looking around at the long line of people waiting for the food truck. The air was thick with the scent of grilled meat, cilantro, and exhaust fumes. This is dining. This, Maya corrected, is El Rey del Taco, and it is the best food you will ever put in your mouth. Forget those tiny portions of foam you eat at Michelin places. This is fuel for the soul. Maya returned from the window balancing 2 paper plates overflowing with tacos. She handed one to Liam. Al pastor, she explained. Pork, pineapple, onion, cilantro, and I put the red salsa on yours. Do not be a baby. Liam looked at the taco. It was messy. Grease was already soaking through the paper plate. He took a bite. The flavor exploded in his mouth. It was salty, sweet, savory, and then heat. A wave of spice hit the back of his throat. His eyes watered immediately. Water, Liam choked out, reaching for a bottle. Maya laughed, taking a huge bite of her own. Embrace the burn, Liam. It means you are alive. Liam drank half the bottle of water, but then he took another bite, and another. For the first time in years, he wasn't counting calories or worrying about whether the kale was organic. He was just eating. It is actually good, Liam admitted, wiping sauce from his chin with a flimsy napkin. Told you, Maya smiled. She watched him for a moment, her expression softening. You know, you look different without the suit, less like a robot, more like a human. I feel exposed, Liam confessed. The suit is armor. When I wear it, I am Liam Sterling, the CEO. When I take it off, I am just the guy who played video games in his basement until he was 22. That guy sounds cool, Maya said. I would hang out with that guy. Liam looked at her. Under the flickering fluorescent light of the taco truck, with salsa on her lip and wind-blown hair, she looked more beautiful than any woman he had ever seen at a gala. Ethan says we need more content, Liam said, his voice dropping an octave. For the narrative. Right, Maya said, looking away quickly. The narrative. Let's go to the pier, Liam suggested. The Ferris wheel, that is a classic cliché, right? Total cliché, Maya agreed. Let's do it. An hour later, they were suspended 100 feet in the air above the Pacific Ocean. The Santa Monica Pier glittered below them like a toy city. The ocean was a vast, dark expanse stretching out to the horizon. The wind whipped through the open gondola. Maya shivered, rubbing her arms. Without thinking, Liam took off his flannel overshirt, another Target purchase, and draped it over her shoulders. Thanks, she whispered. She pulled the fabric tight. It smelled like him. Expensive cologne mixed with the faint scent of taco smoke. Maya, Liam started. He didn't know what he was going to say. He wanted to tell her that he was having fun. Real fun. That for the first time in a decade, he wasn't checking his email every 5 minutes. Yeah, she asked, looking up at him. Her eyes reflected the lights of the carnival below. The deal, Liam said, stumbling over his words. When this is over, the sanctuary, I want to make sure it is fully funded. Not just the 50,000, I want to set up an endowment. Maya's eyes widened. Liam, you do not have to do that. The deal was 50,000. I know, Liam said. He leaned closer. The gondola swayed gently in the wind. But you deserve it. You work harder than anyone I know. You care more than anyone I know. They were close now, inches apart. The noise of the crowd below faded into a dull hum. Liam's gaze dropped to her lips. Maya didn't pull away. Her breath hitched. The gondola jerked as the wheel started moving again, bringing them back down to earth. The moment broke. Liam cleared his throat and sat back. Just think about it. Maya nodded, her heart pounding against her ribs. Okay, I will. She looked out at the ocean, terrified. This was not part of the contract. She was not supposed to fall for the client, especially not a client who lived in a penthouse while she lived in a studio apartment with a leaky ceiling. But as his shirt kept her warm, she couldn't help but wish the ride would last a little longer. 2 weeks passed. The Sterling Diaz romance was the hottest topic in the country. Sterling Tech's IPO was scheduled for Friday. On Thursday afternoon, Liam was booked for the most important interview of the press tour, The Daily Grind, a business podcast listened to by every investor on Wall Street. The studio was a glass box in the middle of a trendy office in Culver City. Liam sat across from the host, Dax, a man who prided himself on asking tough questions. Maya was not at the studio. She was at the stray sanctuary scrubbing a kennel floor while listening to the livestream on her phone. "So Liam," Dax said, leaning into his microphone, "let us cut the fluff. 6 months ago you were partying on yachts. Now you are eating street tacos and dating a dog walker. The skeptics are saying this is a pivot, a calculated move to soften your image before the IPO. What do you say to them?" Liam sat up straighter. He was in CEO mode now. The suit was back on. The armor was up. He knew the investors were listening. He knew the board was listening. He had to sound in control. He had to sound strategic. "Dax," Liam said smoothly, "business is about adaptation. It is about recognizing market trends and adjusting your position." Maya paused in her scrubbing. She turned up the volume on her phone. "So you admit it is a strategy," Dax pressed. "This relationship, it is a rebranding exercise." Liam hesitated. He should have said no, I fell in love. He should have said Maya changed me, but in his mind he saw the stock ticker. He saw the board members' stern faces. He needed to prove he was a rational decision maker, not an emotional loose cannon. "Look," Liam said, his voice confident, "everything I do is for the benefit of Sterling Tech. I identified a weakness in our brand, a lack of connection with the everyday consumer. Maya represents that consumer. Bringing her into the fold was a strategic alignment. It shows we understand the gig economy. It shows we are grounded. It has been a very successful experiment in bridging that gap. Experiment, strategic alignment, rebranding exercise." In the kennel, Maya dropped the scrub brush. It hit the concrete floor with a wet slap. She stared at the phone. Her hands were shaking. "An experiment," she whispered. On the podcast, Dax laughed. "Wow, that is cold, Liam, even for a CEO. You are calling your fiancé a marketing strategy." Liam realized his mistake instantly. The words hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. "No, that is not what I meant," Liam stammered, his composure cracking. "I mean, the perception is strategic, but the feelings, Maya is..." "Right," Dax interrupted, sensing blood in the water. "But the bottom line is she is good for business, and you are a businessman." "We have to take a break," Liam said, ripping his headphones off. "Cut the feed." But it was live. Ethan, standing in the control booth, buried his face in his hands. "Oh no." Liam stormed out of the glass booth, his heart hammering in his chest. He grabbed his phone. He dialed Maya. It went straight to voicemail. He dialed again. Voicemail. "Get the car," Liam shouted at Ethan. "We need to go to the sanctuary now." But before they could even leave the building, a notification popped up on Ethan's tablet. It was a video posted by Chloe. The caption read, "The truth about Maya Diaz." Ethan clicked play. The video was a masterclass in manipulation. It showed grainy footage of Maya taking the check from Liam in the car 2 weeks ago. But the audio was dubbed over with a fake conversation, likely created using AI. Fake Maya voice. "50,000 is not enough, Liam. If you want me to pretend to love you, I need double. I will play the part, I will fool the idiots on the internet, but you better pay up." Fake Liam voice. "Fine. Just stick to the script." The video cut to Maya laughing at the gala, but the context was removed, making her look malicious. Then it showed screenshots of bank transfers from Sterling Tech to Maya's personal account. Ethan looked up, his face pale. "Boss, Chloe just framed her. She made it look like Maya was extorting you." "What?" Liam grabbed the tablet. "This is fake. That audio is completely fabricated." "It does not matter," Ethan said, pointing to the comments. "I knew she was a gold digger. She played us all." Poor Liam, he actually tried to be nice and she scammed him. "Cancel Maya." "We have to fix this," Liam said, running toward the exit. "I have to explain." Maya was not at the sanctuary when Liam arrived. She was not at her apartment. She was at his office. When Liam burst through the double doors of the Sterling Tech headquarters, the receptionist looked terrified. "Sir, she is in your office. I tried to stop her, but she..." Liam didn't wait. He pushed open the heavy oak doors to his private suite. Maya was standing by the window looking out at the city. She was wearing her old clothes again, the denim shorts, the combat boots. The emerald dress was folded neatly on his desk, along with the diamond earrings he had lent her. Maya, Liam breathed, stepping forward. Thank God, listen, the podcast. I panicked. I used the wrong words. I was trying to speak their language, the investors' language. It was a mistake. Maya turned around. Her eyes were red, but she wasn't crying anymore. She looked cold. A strategic alignment, she repeated. Her voice was flat. An experiment. I did not mean it like that, Liam pleaded. He reached out to take her hand, but she stepped back as if he were radioactive. Do not touch me, she said. Maya, please, and the video Chloe posted. We can prove it is fake. I have the best lawyers in the city. We will sue her. We will clear your name. My name, Maya laughed, a harsh, brittle sound. My name is already mud, Liam. Just like your suit was. Have you seen the comments? They are calling me a scammer, a thief. Someone threw a soda at me when I walked in here. Liam flinched. I will fix it, I promise. You cannot fix this with money, Liam, Maya shouted, her composure finally breaking. That is your problem. You think you can buy everything. You bought a new image. You bought a fiancé. You thought you could buy a heart. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a piece of paper. It was the check for $50,000. She had never cashed it. I thought you were different, Maya said, her voice trembling. On the Ferris wheel, I thought maybe, just maybe, the guy in the t-shirt was the real you, but I was wrong. The guy in the t-shirt was just a costume. This, she gestured to his suit, to the office, to the city below. This is who you are, a man who sees people as assets and liabilities. Maya, no, Liam said, tears stinging his eyes. I love you. The words hung in the air. He had never said them before. Not to anyone. Maya stared at him. For a second he saw a flicker of hope in her eyes, but then the memory of the podcast played in her head, a successful experiment. No, you do not, Maya whispered. You love the deal and the deal is over. She took the check in both hands. Maya, do not, Liam warned. You need that money for the sanctuary. Take it, please. Even if you hate me, take it for the dogs. I would rather let the roof collapse on my head than take a penny from you, she said. She tore the check in half, then in quarters. She threw the confetti of paper into the air. It rained down on the expensive Persian rug like snow. Goodbye, Liam, she said. She walked past him. Liam stood frozen, watching the pieces of paper settle on the floor. Maya, he called out as she reached the door. She stopped, her hand on the brass handle. She didn't turn around. You were right about one thing, she said softly. It was an experiment, and it failed. The heavy door latched shut behind her. Sound echoed through the massive, empty office like a gunshot. Liam stood alone in his tower. His stock price was soaring. The investors were happy. He was going to be a billionaire in 24 hours. He sank to his knees on the rug, picking up a piece of the torn check. He had never felt poorer in his life. The next 3 days were a blur of misery for Maya. She couldn't go online. Her phone vibrated constantly with hate messages. Chloe's fake video had gone viral, racking up millions of views. The narrative was set. Maya was the villain, the greedy gig worker who tried to exploit the kind-hearted CEO. She lost her job with the delivery app, too many complaints. She lost her clients for dog walking. No one wanted the scammer in their homes, and the stray sanctuary was in crisis. We have a notice from the city, said Sarah, Maya's teenage volunteer, holding a red envelope. They are condemning the building. The roof damage is too severe. If we do not fix it by next week, they are shutting us down and seizing the animals. Maya sat on a bucket in the middle of the shelter, her head in her hands. The dogs were barking around her, sensing her distress. Tiny, the Great Dane, rested his massive head on her knee. I do not have the money, Sarah, Maya said, her voice hoarse. I have nothing. What about Liam? Sarah asked gently. Maybe if you explained. No, Maya snapped. Then she softened. No, he is the reason we are in this mess. I will figure something out. I always do. But she didn't know how. She was blacklisted, broke, and broken-hearted. Meanwhile, in the penthouse, Liam was in a different kind of hell. He sat in the dark, watching the news. Sterling Tech IPO smashes records. Liam Sterling becomes youngest tech billionaire in history. Ethan walked in, carrying a tray of food that Liam hadn't touched in days. Boss, you need to eat. Did you find the source of the deepfake? Liam asked, not looking away from the TV. Yes, Ethan said. Our forensic team traced the IP address. It came from a burner phone registered to an associate of Brad, Chloe's boyfriend. We have the metadata. We can prove the audio was synthesized. Good, Liam said. He stood up. Release it. We are preparing the press release now, Ethan said. But boss, the damage to Maya's reputation. It is bad. Even if we prove it is fake, people love to hate. It might not be enough to stop the harassment. Then we need to do something bigger, Liam said. He walked to the window. He looked down at the city lights. He remembered Maya's face in the taco truck light. He remembered her tearing the check. Ethan, Liam said, get me the deed to the warehouse district property, the one we were going to turn into a server farm. Ethan frowned. The one on 4th Street. Why? I am not building servers there, Liam said. I am building a sanctuary. Boss, Ethan warned, if you do this, if you buy her a building, she is going to think you are trying to control her again. She is proud. She won't accept charity. I know, Liam said. A sad, determined smile crossed his face. That is why she can never know it was me. 2 days later, Maya was packing boxes at the shelter. She was crying silently as she put dog toys into a crate. The eviction notice was taped to the door. Her phone rang. It was an unknown number. She almost didn't answer, expecting another troll telling her to die. Hello, she answered defensively. Miss Diaz, a woman's voice asked, professional, crisp. My name is Alina. I am a real estate attorney representing an anonymous trust. I do not have money for a lawyer, Maya said. We are not asking for money, Alina said. My client is a philanthropist who focuses on animal welfare. They saw the news about your shelter's closure. They wish to donate a property to your organization. Maya froze. A property. A warehouse on 4th Street. It has been retrofitted with kennels, a veterinary clinic, and a large outdoor run. It is fully paid for. The deed is ready to be transferred to the stray sanctuary. Maya dropped the dog toy. Is this a joke? Is this some kind of prank? It is very real, Miss Diaz. The keys are waiting for you. The only condition is that the donor remains completely anonymous. They do not want publicity. Maya drove to 4th Street in a daze. When she arrived, she gasped. It was perfect. It was a massive brick building with a huge fenced yard. There was a sign over the door, the stray sanctuary. It was freshly painted. She walked inside. There were state-of-the-art kennels, a grooming station, a fully stocked food pantry. Who did this? She whispered, running her hand over a stainless steel table. It was a miracle. It saved everything. She moved the dogs in the next day. The volunteers were crying with joy. Tiny ran circles in the big yard, barking happily. For a week, Maya was happy. She felt like the universe had finally cut her a break, but then she found the paperwork. She was organizing the files in the new office when she saw a document that had slipped behind a cabinet. It was a transfer order for the HVAC system. At the bottom, in tiny print, was the billing entity, Sterling Holdings, LLC. Maya stared at the paper. The blood rushed in her ears. It wasn't a philanthropist. It wasn't a miracle. It was Liam. He had bought the building. He had set it up. And he had hidden behind a lawyer so she wouldn't know. To anyone else, it might have seemed like a romantic gesture. But to Maya, standing in the middle of the empire he had built for her, it felt like a cage. He thinks he can fix everything with a check, she muttered, crumpling the paper in her fist. He thinks he owns me. The anger that had been simmering since the podcast boiled over. He had lied about the experiment. He had lied about the donation. He was manipulating her life from the shadows, playing God with his billions. Sarah, Maya shouted, grabbing her keys. Watch the dogs. I have to go return a building. She stormed out of the sanctuary, jumping into her beat-up van. She wasn't going to his office this time. She knew where he was. Today was the Tech Summit, the biggest event of the year. He would be on stage, broadcasting to the world. Perfect, Maya said, gripping the steering wheel until her knuckles turned white. He likes an audience. I will give him a show. The Los Angeles Convention Center was a fortress of glass and steel, buzzing with the energy of 3,000 tech enthusiasts, investors, and journalists. Inside the main auditorium, the lights were dimmed. A massive screen displayed the Sterling Tech logo, a sleek silver fox. On stage, Liam Sterling stood in the spotlight. He looked tired. There were dark circles under his eyes that even the best stage makeup couldn't hide, but his voice was steady. Innovation, Liam said into the microphone, is not just about code, it is about connection. It is about building systems that bring us together rather than driving us apart. Backstage, Ethan was pacing nervously. He checked his phone. The press release about the deepfake was ready to go live in 10 minutes, right after Liam's speech. They were going to clear Maya's name, but they were too late. At the back of the auditorium, the double doors swung open with a loud thud. Security guards moved to intercept the intruder, but they stopped when they realized who it was. The woman in the flannel shirt and combat boots, the face that had been on every news channel for weeks. Maya Diaz marched down the center aisle. She did not look at the cameras. She did not look at the audience. Her eyes were locked on Liam. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Phones were raised. Live streams began. "Liam," Maya shouted. Her voice echoed in the cavernous room, cutting through the silence. Liam stopped mid-sentence. He looked out into the darkness and saw her. His heart leaped she was here. But then he saw the fury in her stride. "Maya," he said, stepping away from the podium. Maya reached the stage. She didn't take the stairs. She vaulted onto the platform, ignoring the gasp from the front row. She walked right up to him, invading his spotlight. "You bought it," she said, breathing hard. She held up the crumpled invoice from Sterling Holdings. "You bought the sanctuary." Liam's face fell. "Maya, listen." "No, you listen." Maya turned to the audience. She grabbed the microphone from the podium stand. The feedback screeched, making everyone wince. "You all think he is a genius," Maya said, pointing a shaking finger at Liam. "You think he is this benevolent visionary, but let me tell you what he really is. He is a control freak who thinks he can write checks to fix human emotions." The crowd was stunned into silence. This was not a script. This was raw. "Maya, please," Liam said softly, reaching for her arm. "Not here. Let's talk in private." "Private?" Maya laughed bitterly. "Like the private podcast where you called me an experiment. Like the private donation you made so you could feel like a hero without actually having to talk to me." She threw the paper at his chest. "I do not want your charity, Liam. I do not want your pity money. You manipulated my life. You made me believe I was saving those dogs, but really I was just living in another one of your assets." Tears were streaming down her face now. "I am not an asset," she screamed. "I am a person and you cannot buy me." Liam stood there taking every word. He could have called security. He could have cut the mic. He could have spun it as a mental breakdown, but he didn't. He just looked at her, seeing the pain he had caused. He realized that even his good deed, the sanctuary, had been poisoned by his need for control, by his inability to just be honest. "You are right," Liam said. His voice was quiet, but the microphone picked it up. The room went deadly quiet. "I did buy it," Liam admitted. He looked at the audience. "I bought the building because I knew the city was going to evict her. I did it anonymously because I knew she would never take help from the man who humiliated her." He turned back to Maya. "I was not trying to control you, Maya. I was trying to protect you because I broke everything else." Maya stared at him. Her chest was heaving. The anger was still there, but confusion was creeping in. "Protect me," she whispered. "By lying." "By the only way I knew how," Liam said. "I am a fixer, Maya. I fix bugs in code. I fix stock prices. But I do not know how to fix this. I do not know how to fix us." For a moment, it felt like they were the only two people in the room. Then a slow clapping started from the side of the stage. Chloe walked out from the wings. She was wearing a press pass and holding a microphone. Brad was right behind her, looking smug. "Bravo," Chloe sneered. "What a performance. Truly, Liam, you missed your calling. You should have been an actor." She turned to the audience. "Do not let him fool you, everyone. This is just another scene in their little soap opera." "He bought the building to keep her quiet, to pay her off for the blackmail," Chloe pointed at Maya. "She has been extorting him for weeks, and now that the money is not enough, she is here to ruin his big night." The crowd murmured again. The narrative was shifting. Chloe was good at this. "Security," Chloe shouted. "Remove this woman, she is a danger to—" "Cut the feed," Liam commanded, but not to the cameras. He was talking to the control booth. On the massive screen behind them, the Sterling Tech logo disappeared. It was replaced by a video file. "What is this?" Chloe asked, looking back at the screen. The video started playing. It was CCTV footage. It showed a restaurant booth. Chloe and Brad were sitting there. The timestamp was 3 weeks ago. The audio was crystal clear. Chloe on screen: "We need to destroy her, Brad. If Liam's stock goes up, he wins. I want him to suffer." Brad on screen: "The deepfake tech is ready. We can make the girl say whatever we want. We will make her look like a greedy little thief. The internet will tear her apart." Chloe on screen: "Perfect. And once she is cancelled, Liam will come crawling back to me to save his reputation." The real Chloe stood on stage, her face draining of color. She looked like a ghost. "Turn it off," she shrieked. "That is fake. That is AI." "No," Liam said, his voice cold as steel. "That is the raw footage from the security system at Le Petit Bistro. I bought the restaurant this morning just to get the tapes legally." He turned to the audience. "Maya Diaz never asked me for a penny. She refused my money. She tore up my check. The video you saw online was a fabrication created by these two people to manipulate my stock price and destroy an innocent woman's life." Liam stepped closer to Chloe. "That is market manipulation, Chloe. That is defamation. And Brad, using deepfake technology for corporate sabotage is a federal crime." Sirens could be heard in the distance, getting closer. Brad turned to run, but 2 large security guards blocked his path. Maya watched the screen, stunned. She heard Chloe's voice planning her destruction. She realized the depth of the hate she had been fighting. And she realized Liam had known. He had been planning this reveal. He had let her scream at him, let her humiliate him on stage, just to keep Chloe in the room until the trap was sprung. The police entered the auditorium. It was chaos. Flashbulbs popped like strobe lights. Chloe was crying, screaming that her father would sue everyone. Brad was trying to call his lawyer. As they were led away in handcuffs, the audience erupted, not in polite applause, but in a roar of shock and vindication. Liam didn't look at the crowd. He turned to Maya. "I am sorry," he said. "I should have told you about the building. I should have told you about the plan, but I needed them to think we were broken. I needed them to think they had won so they would show up here today." Maya looked at him. She looked at the invoice still crumpled in her hand. He had saved her reputation. He had saved the sanctuary. He had destroyed his enemies. It was the most romantic, terrifying, efficient thing she had ever seen. "You are an idiot," she said, her voice trembling. "I know," Liam said. "Is the deal still off?" Maya looked at his hopeful face. She wanted to kiss him. She wanted to slap him. "The deal," she said slowly, "was for a fake fiancé." She took a step back. "That contract is expired, Liam." Liam's face crumbled. But Maya added, a small, tired smile touching her lips. "I might be open to a new negotiation for a real boyfriend, but the probation period is going to be brutal." Liam let out a breath he felt like he had been holding for a month. "I can do brutal," he said. "I survived the mud. I can survive probation." 3 months later. The sun was shining on 4th Street. The sign for the stray sanctuary was gleaming. In the yard, a dozen dogs were playing, and in the middle of them, wearing jeans and a t-shirt covered in paw prints, was Liam Sterling. He was holding a hose, trying to wash a very muddy golden retriever. "You missed a spot," Maya called out from the porch. She was holding a clipboard, looking like the boss she was. "I am trying." Liam laughed, dodging a spray of water as the dog shook itself dry. "This is harder than coding, Maya. The user interface is unpredictable." A news van was parked outside the gate. A reporter was leaning over the fence. "Mr. Sterling," the reporter shouted. "One question, you are a billionaire. You could be anywhere in the world. Why are you here washing dogs?" Liam turned off the hose. He wiped his wet hands on his jeans. He looked at Maya. She was glowing in the sunlight, happy, free, and looking at him with love. Real love. He walked over to the fence. "Because," Liam said to the camera, "this is the only investment that actually matters." He walked back to Maya. She put her arms around his neck, not caring that he smelled like wet dog. "Good answer," she whispered. "I am learning," he said. He kissed her. It wasn't for the cameras. It wasn't for a deal. It was just for them. And somewhere in the background, Tiny the Great Dane barked, chasing a butterfly, completely unaware that he had started a love story that saved them all.